we've managed to take over the door at 4. If you're expecting to see Kat or Rosie or Isaac or Willow today, you're not going to, because you're going to see me today, because it's Good Friday, the start of the Easter weekend. illuminateStroud is taking over. Well, welcome to the door at 4. My name is Barry and I head up illuminateStroud. illuminateStroud is, it's kind of part of the door, but it's not part of the door, and it's kind of part of the local church, but it's not part of the local church. It's kind of this thing in between the two that sits between the door and the church and tries to bring young people together to think about stuff about faith and where that might fit into your world. And because it's Easter, the very, very start of the Easter weekend on Good Friday, I thought it would be great to take over the door at 4 and tell you a little bit about what we do at illuminateStroud. So today's Good Friday. What does that mean? How can a day where a guy gets killed be a good day? So it all starts with you having to understand that the guy that was killed, the guy we call Jesus, wasn't any other normal guy. He was God that had come to earth to live as a man and to demonstrate that we can all live a life that brings about a blessing and peace and grace into the world around us. He lived by these principles. We love living by them at illuminateStroud. They are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, faithfulness, gentleness, goodness, and self-control. And we believe that if we all lived our life focusing on those principles, then the world around us would be so much better. That's what illuminateStroud is all about. It's about trying to help us think about how we live our lives by those principles. And this guy, Jesus, this God who became man, lived a life based on those principles, died a life based on those principles, and then on Sunday, Easter Sunday, was brought back to life again in a new way that meant that none of us have to be scared about death anymore. And you know what? At the moment, death's quite scary, isn't it? It's quite in our faces because of what's happening with coronavirus. And we know that if we can really grasp onto the concept that death doesn't have to be the end, then the idea of death and suffering doesn't have to be quite so scary anymore. That's what Easter's all about. It's helping us realise that the story doesn't finish on Good Friday, on a day about death. The story finishes on Easter Sunday, a day that's all about life. Well, I thought maybe we could give you a little thing that you could do that would just help you remember the real reason why Easter's there. So if you have a look on the table here, I've got some bits of string. You could use anything, a bit of ribbon or any kind of material that you've found lying around, an old school tie, something like that. And I'm just going to pick one of these up, and as I pick it up, I'm just going to think about for a second maybe something that I'm worried about at the moment, or I might be scared of, or I might be anxious about, or anything like that. And I'm just going to hold it and just think a little bit about the thing that I might be anxious about. Just reflect on that for a second, and then I'm going to tie a knot into my piece of string. And as I do that, I'm just going to remember that perfect love always drives out fear. And one of our principles is love. Love will always overcome fear. So that knot is going to be a reminder of love for me. Now, it might be that you want to tie it to something. So, I could tie it to my key ring, and so that every time I pick my keys up, I remember what's that bit of string on there for. Oh, that's to remind me that love always overcomes fear. You might, if you had a longer piece of string, you might tie it to your bedpost or somewhere where you're going to remember. And you could do that every time you're worried about something. You could pick a piece of string up and just think about the thing you're worried about, and then remember that love always overcomes fear. And that's the sort of quick reflections that we do in Illuminate to help us think about the bigger picture stuff of what's going on in the world around us. And for us at Easter, that idea of love overcoming fear is central to the reason why we celebrate Easter, that on Good Friday, the love of God through Jesus overcame death and fear and worry and anxiety and concern. We're doing a whole bunch of stuff online. So if you're interested in finding little daily reflections, little prayer things, little things that you can just connect with that might make you think a little bit differently about the world around you, then head over to @illuminateStroud on Facebook and Instagram, or check out our YouTube page and you can find that kind of stuff. I hope you have a great Easter. Enjoy eating lots of chocolate, enjoy the weather, but don't forget that there's an important message behind all of that. And the Door at 4 will be back in its usual fashion next week. See you guys.